who did my guillotine guard class on Tuesday? Hi. My name is Daði. You can pronounce that D-A-V, like the instructor, Daði. And I'm a black belt from Iceland. I'm a head coach at a gym called BBC. And if you ever find yourself in the capital of Iceland, please pay us a visit. So, mounts, yes. About a year ago, I think, something clicked with me and the mount. The mounts, along with other positions, were something I knew how to play, but also at the same time something I didn't quite understand. Couldn't systematize it. It bugs me. So, what I was taught growing up in my jiu-jitsu career, when you enter mount, you keep low, hands out, or you get a crossface, smashing down, and when you want to attack, you have to stay high. You can go for key locks if you push this back, and you can go for arm bars. You can go for cross chokes if you fight your arms. You can go for arm bars and stuff like that. And then, of course, if you're keeping low, you can go for the Ezekiel. You can walk the arm up for the arm triangle, and so on. So that was kind of my mount game for most of my career. As I said, about a year ago, something clicked with me. I never really... I'm a firm believer in that your control should lead you into your submissions. You should never have to let go of your control to get into your submissions. So it always bugged me that when I get to mount, I have to be here, and when I want to go for submissions, I have to be here. It doesn't make sense, or it didn't make sense to me, and it still doesn't. Today, we're going to go into at least 3 positions. If we have time, we're going to go into more. For the most part, we're going to go over kind of the basics of the system, which will be comprised of mostly stuff you've seen before, but hopefully we're going to connect them in a different way. That'll make sense. And if we have time, we're going to go into what ifs, which will kind of open it up into more interesting areas. If by the end of the class you haven't seen, like if you have your favorite submissions or stuff you want to do from the mount, I will show you how that enters the system. And if I don't know, maybe we can find out together. So, we're going to go over low mount, we're going to go over high mount, and we're going to take a look at the S mount. Now, Bjarne is doing a class on the S mount tomorrow, so if you want to know more about that, pay in a visit. So, the low mount. The low mount is my initial controlling position. If I get to mount and I do not have control of the upper body, I control the lower body until I can climb up. Now, sometimes we might have good and strong control of the upper body. I might have a crossface, I might have a underhook. I open up and I either slap or step over. And from here, I don't have to control the lower body because I have a strong connection to the upper body. But if my control of the upper body is bad or not good enough, or maybe I don't have any, everybody's seen this, step over. If I come to mount, I don't have any control. I'm just kind of sitting on it. This position I'm in right now, where I'm just cupping around his butt, I don't do that. I'm not saying that it's wrong. It just personally does not have a place in my system. As soon as I get over, if I don't have suitable control, I'm going to go for the lower body. We can go for the grapevines. We can cross the ankles. Or you can just touch your feet together. But I'm sprawling my knees apart and I'm pushing my hip into him here. So if he humps a little bit, yeah, so that's what I want. Now, anybody here has gone skydiving before? I've never gone, but it looks cool. So we're gonna we're gonna be in a skydiving posture. So this is what I'm gonna do. I wanna make him carry my weight. I'm not gonna put my weight on my arms. I'm not gonna put weight on my feet or my knees. I'm gonna push my hip in. So I'm lifting a little bit up. So, I put my feet in however I want. Again, I'm lifting. If I hook my ankles, I'm lifting up and I'm pushing my hip down. Now, I can put my arms on the floor, that's fine. Just don't keep your weight on them. All right, from here, this is my initial position. I can go for CPOs and stuff like that, but for now, I just want you controlling. Now, we're gonna go into a few ways to stop him from getting out. There are too many ways, like counters to his counters, that we can go into. We're just gonna go over two basic ones and then continue with our system. Now, the UPA, or the bridge over. If I'm lazy and he bridges, I could fall over even if he grabs my arm. So what we're gonna do is, if he goes to this side, my opposite side hook, I'm gonna activate it. I'm gonna lift it up and I'm gonna push my hip down. So I'm kind of sprawling on the same side. So if he goes over, here. So I'm here, I'm lifting up and I'm pushing my hip down here to connect with his hip. So again, you should be able to do this without pushing your arms, but there's nothing wrong with pushing your arms. So he goes to the other side, he goes the other side. All right, so second thing, he goes for my hip, pushes my hip, blocks my hip, pushes my knee, whatever. As soon as his arms touches my lower body, I grab, I peel him off. Simple, just to start with. All right, so if he goes for my lower body, I grab and I peel off. If he bridges, I hook. If I'm late, while I'm on the floor, I come back. So that's the controlling part. Now I want you guys to have one objective. As I find my control, I'm gonna look for a crossface. We have a few different grips for our crossface, and I want to make him feel horrible. So,
here comes the fun part.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they do this. Like, I push over and make him look that way, and I did that too. I'm gonna show you just a little bit of tweak. So, as I'm here, I have my hooks, I'm gonna lower my body. Instead of going across his face, I'm gonna go down and put my shoulder on his chest. Now, I'm not gonna make him, what's your name? What? Jetson. Okay, I'm not gonna make him look over there. I'm going to make him look up at Florian. So I put my shoulder to his chest, I go under the chin, and now I go up and over. So not straight up, not to 90 degrees, I'm going at a 45-degree angle. So I drop my shoulder on his chest, and then I drive up and over. It makes a lot of difference. Now, I'm here, he bridges, I keep my control, he goes for my lower body, I pull him off, I'm just keeping my control. As soon as I feel I can go for the armpit here. If he opens up, and I can't reach it, and I can't reach the armpit, I can go for his neck. If you have a gi on, you can grab the gi. If not, I'm gonna grab the meat of his neck, the muscle. You did this in Wim's class. I'm gonna grab the meat of his muscle and I do the same. Here, I go under and then I go up and over, push him over. So my objective again is to have him grab my shoulder, because he grabs my shoulder to pull down, release the pressure. All right, so we start here, we're gonna ride, he bridges, he pushes, whatever. I go under, I try to grab, if I can, I go for the neck, try both. I go down, up, and over, and he preemptively grabs. All right, so grab a partner, try that out, and then we'll move on. Hey, trade off. If you're having any problems, raise your arms, pull me over. I'm gonna try to keep the rounds in the not too long, because we're gonna build upon what we do. We're gonna build upon it, so we're gonna do the same things over and over again, just with added steps. All right, so again, we start from low mount. A few people were asking about the tap. This is not a choke. It is a neck crank. I'm not trying to make him tap. I am trying to make him grab my shoulder. So the next position we're gonna look at is the high mount. So the beginning of the system takes us from the low mount to the high mount. The high mount is up here where his arms are very, very exposed. If we're doing gi, I can go for collar chokes, but it's very hard for him to move around and frame. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a situation where he wants to open up his elbow, and from there I'm able to catch the inside space. And we have to do that on both sides, so that's what I'm trying to do. All right, now the high mount. Again, I'm gonna ask you not, when you get to the high mount, I'm gonna ask you not to stay up here. My control is low, I wanna keep a low base. The higher I am, the easier it is for him to move me around. So I'm gonna keep a low base, and I might even cup his head. I'll show you why in a few seconds. Now, when we're in the low mount, because I start from the low mount, I tend to not wanna be here. I'm not inside the space, and I'm not keeping control of the lower body. So I start down low, I go under. If he's stopping me from going under, I can use one arm. I go back and forth until I get a good grip. Now I grip, I pull him over, I go low, and I go up and high. When he grabs, I'm gonna slide the knee at the same time as high as I can. So hip into his shoulder, and I go high. If he tries to get his arm back, I'm keeping it. I keep my cross face. Now I have another arm. That arm, I'm going for the underhook. So if we turn a little bit, I want to walk his underhook up and over. Again, trying to open up that space so I can occupy it. So when I walk, don't walk up into the shoulder. If he's keeping tight, nothing's gonna happen. This is a lever, and I want to be at the end of the lever. So I go here, I walk out, 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 out. If he pushes back, I'm gonna straighten my arm. So I lean and I straighten my arm, and then I walk again. Straighten my arm, walk, and I take a big arch over the head. Don't just go here and then towards the head. I wanna open, 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 and open until I can get it all the way. Once I get all the way, we have a choice of gripping the top of the head or gripping the neck. We're gonna go for the neck now. I'm gonna show you the top in a little bit. I have the cross face. I walk up. When I get here, I can start by gripping the top of his head, because most people, when they don't wanna be here, so he's gonna go and try to get out. Here, I just keep that. Once I feel I'm safe, I'm gonna lift my elbow on the cross-facing arm, and I'm gonna switch. This arm goes under, and again, I grab the meat of the neck. So I go under, and I grab the meat of his neck. Now I have an underhook and a crossface with the same arm. He tries to get that out. He tries to turn to his left. He can't. Now, I want to get this arm a little bit higher so I can go under. If I'm already all the way high, awesome. If not, I'm going to go under, and I can do the same thing, pry it open, until I get here. Now, we slide high, and I lean into him. If he tries to do something, he's stuck. That's what we want to do. Now, low mount. Crossface. Pull over. Miserable. Slide in. I open up space. I want to occupy it. Arm goes under. I walk, pry, walk, pry, walk, pry, and I grab the head. Once I'm ready, I'm going to lift my elbow up, and I switch the grip to the meat of the neck. Once I'm here, I go high. I can put my head on the floor if I want, and I can walk the other arm. Once I get that, I grab the top of his neck, and that's our checkpoint for now. So I'm here, ready to attack. All right, so that's the drill for now. Start from the low mount, work yourselves up to the high mount, keeping everything tight. Hey, trade off. So my whole thing for now is to open up the elbows. I want to get my partner up here. All right.
so as we get into it, we're gonna kind of ask him a question. We're gonna ask, are you gonna give me my submission? If he says no, I say fine. I go deeper into my control. Then we're gonna ask again, are you gonna give me my submission? He says no, fine. I go deeper into my control. When he says, oh yes, please take it, then we go for the submission. All right, so now we've gone from the low mount into the high mount. From there, we're gonna switch into the S mount. I'm not gonna go too deep into it because Bjarni is doing a whole session on it tomorrow. But we're gonna do the same thing. So I pull him over, I go under, he grabs. Again, you should be monitoring the elbow space, the space inside the elbows at all times. If for any reason he opens that up, maybe he starts pushing my face or something, whatever he starts doing, I'm gonna take that space. That's my space. Facebook. Somebody got it. All right, so might be getting too old. Anyways, so I'm gonna be grabbing him. I'm gonna be cross-facing him. I'm gonna fill that space. If I can, I go all the way to his head, and now I can turn to that arm. I go under, I walk, I pry, I walk, I pry, I walk, I pry, until I can get up. Now, I switch, and I grab the meat of his neck. Now, this arm is all the way up, so this time, I didn't have to switch to the other arm, because I'm so high. So, I am all the way up. Now I can just go for my S mount. Now, when I go for my S mount, I want to be turned at a 90 degree. So a lot of people, because this is the S mount, a lot of people do it like this. So I'm still facing the same direction as his spine is pointing. I want to be facing the direction through his shoulders, so that way. I want my hip and my knee all the way inside his armpit. When I turn, so when I'm here and I turn, if there's any space, he gets his elbows back. That's a big no-no. I want to fill that space that I just created. So I go high. I try to get my heel to my knee, and I box him in. If he tries to move, hard. Now, I hug the arm, and I can go for either an armbar up here, or I can switch down for the armbar. Now, so the focus of this class isn't actually the submissions. I'm going to show you how to get there, but I want to focus on the system. So we grab, I pull, I go up, he grabs. I fill the space, I go under, and I walk. Here, I go high. Now, this time, I want to take this arm. Since both elbows are up, it's my decision. I can go whatever side I want. So I go this side, and I slide myself up, turning towards his shoulders. I want my knee inside his armpit, and I want to connect my heel to my knee. He tries to move. I can face out if I want. I hug the arm that's closer to me, so the shoulder that's closer to me, and I move in to my armbar. One thing I want you guys thinking about. There are two things we're using to open him up. It's the crossface and it's the underhook. We've been doing crossface and then underhook. We don't have to do that. So sometimes people are just glued to the floor and you can't get under, or you get under but you can't get a good crossface. If that happens, I can go for the underhook. So maybe I'm here, I can't get under to a good crossface, so I can go underhook instead. But what I need is his head stuck in place. Because if I just walk the underhook up, he can move his head to that side, yep, and get the elbow back. So even if I just put my arm here around his head, if he moves, he can't. And then I can use my underhook instead. And from there, maybe he thinks, oh fuck, I have to get that arm out. Oh, head came up. Crossface instead. But of course, I'm not gonna give him the underhook back. So think about that when you're going for it. Now, I'm here, boom, crossface, underhook. I walk, I hook, I switch. I go other side, I walk, I'm high. Now I can pick whatever side I want. My knee slides to his head or a little bit above it. It has to go past the shoulder line. So I slide, up, and I box him in here as tight as I can. You can ask your partner to move. The correct answers, yeah, that's it. Okay. Now, can you hum for me? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, please
Sure.
do.
God damn it! This is excruciating.
Yeah, that's the correct answer. So you pass. Now, when I go, all of my weight should be on my thigh. So when I lean to get my foot over his head, it should be very hard for him. It should be hard to breathe. All right, so move into your high mount from your low mount, set up the S mount, and go for an arm bar, either side. Hey, Tato. Any questions so far? Yes.
I find the transition into S mount, it's kind of loose for me.
Okay.
What are the things I should be focusing on just to make it like super tight and pressure?
Yeah, I'll answer that in a bit. Because that's going to be part of what I'm going to talk about. Anything else? No. All right, so we can cheat. This is the end point. The high mount is the end point. And then we have, if my partner is open, so I actually, most of the time I don't get there. Because I get the armbar on the way. But yeah, what do I do to keep tight? Now, I need something, just like when I was opening up the elbow, I'm keeping his head stuck in place. I need something for the transition into the S mount. Let's say his arm is up here. If I go here, he can move his head away and get the elbow out. If I somehow am able to get his head to stick, let's just say I put my fist on the floor, and now I move up. If he moves, he's stuck. He can't create space to get that elbow out. So what I was doing when we were working into the high mount and then to the S mount is I was keeping this arm stuck. And that's the same thing. Like I'm through the arm, I'm keeping the shoulder, and through the shoulder, the rest of the body. Now, if he tries to move out of the way, I keep him here. I'm pulling and I'm kind of projecting my hip towards him at the same time. So as I move him up and we're here, I kind of pull everything to me and I project my hip. Oh, sorry. Yep, here. So I'm keeping my arms around and I push myself into him here. So he can move his head. It's all about the head. All right, so from here, knee into the armpit and I box him in. Did that answer the question? So now we're gonna cheat. Every time because people, as you're bringing the elbows up, they kind of don't want to do that, so they start going down again. But when people are fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting, and then the elbows go up, they go, ugh, I can't do this anymore. And then they kind of wait for you to do something so they can slip the elbow out. But we're gonna use that. Now, we're gonna grab the armbar on either side. So we have a cross face armbar and we have an underhook armbar. Now, for the underhook armbar, it's gonna be the easier one it's more like the other one, the one we just did. So maybe I go cross face. Maybe he doesn't grab. Maybe. Or he does, doesn't matter. I take the underhook and I walk. I pry, I walk, I pry, and I get it up. If I feel he stops fighting once he gets here, I can go. If he's pushing his elbow down, I know that once I slide my hip, it might get out of control. But if his arm is there, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use my hands to keep his head stuck. I need his head to be stuck when I move myself up. But I lift myself up here, arm on the floor, and I slide. Look, can you move your head? Can you get the elbow out? Nope. All right, from here, I can grab the other one, I can box him in, and I can take my arm off. So, if I feel that I can go for the armbar, I'm just gonna cup the head. I don't need to switch under. That grip's actually gonna be in my way. I just cup the head, and once I'm ready, I'm gonna post my arm on the floor, and I'm gonna slide. Here, this is the armbar I get most of the time. Because people just stop fighting when you get the elbow all the way up. From here, grab, box them in, switch. It's the same thing with the crossfade side, but it's a little bit awkward once you do it for the first time. I go for the crossface, I make him grab. Once I do, I'm gonna slide him up, slide my knee up. If I feel that his elbow is high enough, I can go for the crossface side armbar. So maybe I'm fighting here, he's pushing down, I can't open up. What I can do instead is I can grab his neck or just fist on the floor, like I showed you before. That rhymed. All right, so fist on the floor, and once I'm here, I can slide myself further. I can use the other arm to keep him here too. If he tries to move, he's stuck. I grab, I slide, and I go for the armbar. So we have two arm bars. We have the underhook one. Maybe I have a shitty crossface and he doesn't grab. I go up, I keep the head stuck, and I slide up. Maybe I have shitty underhook and I can't get it, but I have a good crossface. He grabs, I slide up, fist on the floor, I move myself around, and then I can go for the armbar. So we're kind of cheating. We're not going all the way because we don't have to. All right, any questions? Oh, let's go for it. Take it off.
Which one do you do first?
Any questions? No. So I know should be giving you more time to drill this, but I want to go more into the system. I'm not trying to teach you arm bars. I'm trying to teach you the system behind like how we go from point A to B, and then the what ifs. And that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to go into the basic submissions you can grab on your way to the high mount. Obviously we have the arm bars, but we have other submissions too. There are situations where things go, I don't want to say out of hand, things change. We can't be perfect all the time. So things change and we have to adapt. But for now, if we have time, we're going to go into that. But for now, we're going to stick with what submissions we can get on the way. Now, we have two underhook submissions, and I think two crossface submissions that we're going to go into. Now, if I have this crossface and I walk this arm up, what submission comes to mind? Arm triangle, yes. I pass the arm over and we can go into our arm triangle. An excellent thing to have in mind, if I go for the arm triangle and for somehow or some way I feel that I can't get it, or if I just don't have good arm triangles, I can slide myself up. I just go for the arm bar. It's the same thing. So some people actually prefer to pass the arm before going to the arm bar. So you can do that. If you can't, we'll continue. So from here, I can switch. If I can't get the arm bar, if I can't get the arm triangle, I can switch, grab the meat of the neck. Now, from there, once I'm here, I can fight this arm. If he is keeping it tight and I can't get the underhook, I can fight it. So I can either push out. If he resists, I can pull in. So we have both directions, obviously. So if I push out and I'm able to get it to the floor, I'm going to slide myself up. I'm going to lift his head. Triangle. I already have the arm inside, and I shoot. But if I push and he goes back, triangle. Same thing. So I'm gonna give him a choice. Are you gonna let me triangle you, or are you gonna let me triangle you? So I push in. I connect my elbow with my hip, and I start pushing with my body, not just my arm. Now, if I can pin it to the floor, awesome. Shoot over, lift the head. Not gonna show you how to finish the triangle. It's not for another class. Now, if I push and he pushes back, it's awesome. I pull, I go over, triangle. Now, Did you see that? He elbowed me in the face. Oh no. Asshole. Now, we're gonna go into the crossface submissions. Spoiler alert, we have triangles. Now, I go for a crossface. I'm gonna be nasty as fuck. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna be nasty as hell. Now, once I'm here, maybe I go under, he pushes down, and I can't go for it. It's fine. Arm, wrist. I push down, and mount wouldn't be beginner friendly if we don't have a key lock, so let's add that one in. I push down. If I can grab the arm, the wrist, that's cool. I go under, and I can actually finish without getting my crossface arm out. So normally it would go here, and I would go key lock. But what I like to do is because I don't want to let go of my crossface. So instead of grabbing my wrist, I'm going to go 2-on-1. I'm going to extend my arm and pull under. You can do this too. Like if you're here, anyone been in a key lock and you're like, oh, I'm gonna fuck him up, and then he does this. I hate that. Like you're here and he lifts the elbow and you can't go anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna switch. Instead of grabbing my wrist, I go for his 2-on-1, and then I'm gonna pull under. So he turned, that's fine. I change the angle. I go under. All right, so let's say I go, haha, I'm gonna key lock you. And he extends the arm. Oh, fuck. So I can't get the key lock. It's fine. Same thing. Let's say, haha, I'm gonna key lock you, and he pushes back. It's fine. Triangle. So we have, from the crossface, we have a triangle. Now we have the key lock. If he extends, triangle. If he pushes back, triangle. From the underhook, we can grab the meat of the neck. We can switch to the other side. If I push down, triangle. If he pushes back, triangle. So again, this is not a class about the triangle, okay. Although it seems like it. So you don't have to finish the submission. I just want you guys to get the connection between the system and the submission. All right, hit it up. So, like I said, I should be giving you more time to drill this stuff. I'm throwing a lot of setups your way to try out, but we only have an hour to go over like a good part of the system. So you can thank Florian for being here, and so you can go over the tape and review if you forget something. So what I want you, if you start developing this, I want you to think about discomfort. Don't think about submissions, don't actually think about the setups, just think about the discomfort. How can you make it more uncomfortable? Because if people feel comfortable, it doesn't matter what your intentions are. If people feel uncomfortable, they're not going to open themselves up. So you have to create a situation where people want to give you stuff. So think about getting that crossface solid, think about getting that underhook. Get the connections between them, and when you when you have the underhook, when you have the crossface, think about the arm bars. The arm bars are very, very connected to everything you're doing. So once that's done, think about the key lock and the triangle, and that's kind of the intermediate step. And from there, we have the what ifs. So I'm just going to show you. We're not going to drill this. We don't have time. If I crossface, and he doesn't do that, so maybe he starts getting his arm in, because people, if they get space, if I'm not tight enough, they want to get their arm in. If he gets his arm in, but the elbow is out, I can still get the elbow. And now, dun dun dun, triangle. But if he gets the arm all the way in, so the elbow too, we can go into Lisi did on Tuesday. She did gift wrap. So if the elbow gets all the way inside, I'm gonna crush that. Yes, and now he starts to turn, and I can get my chest behind his elbow. Now I can push, and I can start feeding that gift wrap. And now we can go into, yeah, what Lisa did on Tuesday. let's say I have a good crossface here, and I just can't do anything with this arm. I can't go underhook, I can't pin the wrist. What I like to do is get my arm under here, and I use my weight to get it down here, and now I pin. From here, I have an isolated arm, I have a pinned arm, and now we can go into cool stuff like monoplatas and gogoplatas and stuff like that. So it's another avenue of attack. I'm gonna stop here. So this is how I play mount. Most of the time, I get one of the arm bars. I don't have to do the other stuff, but it's always there. Think about discomfort. Think about getting the elbows out and filling that space. So I hope you guys learned anything and are able to use this. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you guys.